and expand with knowledge. So we're going to be talking about wisdom today. Bethany, why don't you start now? I feel like I need a break from talking.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So today, wisdom. Okay. So as if you've been following along, which I hope you have been, since the beginning of March, we've been talking about natural gifts that we're born with. And the first one was intuition, awareness, clarity. And then last week, we didn't have our podcast, but I did do integrity, still in the group. And then today is wisdom. Now, all these things are a cycle. It's an ongoing cycle on your spiritual journey. So you're going to first get your intuitive hits. You're going to get your awareness. So with as I've been following along with my little story about my eating, my binge eating addiction, when I got that awareness of my old pattern, and then I was able to shift it. I got my clarity. So I was able to shift it to a new pattern of eating for health, for nutrition, for fuel, for energy only, and loving that I can control this thing about, I can control what I consume, because I can't control what other people are doing, but I can control myself. And that's another wisdom that I ended up learning from this whole pattern. And then so now after clarity, we get to the wisdom place. And well, let's back up. Integrity. I forgot to mention the integrity, because after you get the clarity, you got to bring your integrity in to keep you with your discipline, to help you stay respecting yourself, to help trusting yourself, and to keep you following your heart and honoring your truths, and just really being your true authentic self. So you get your integrity, and then you hit that wisdom. You get that wisdom where you get that knowledge, that expansion, that experience that helped, that you learned, and that maybe you're currently still learning, you're practicing, or you're currently still practicing. And then you're going off and you're sharing it with others and teaching others, as we do in this podcast right now. That's what wisdom is. We're sharing everything that we've learned. And that's kind of with my cycle. So then you hit the wisdom, and you're going to get that joy. What is joy? Well, joy is that happiness that cannot be broken. It will not go away. It is down in your heart, and it is going to be there and stay there. A lot of people are like, what's the difference between happiness and joy? Well, with happiness, that can change because it's external. But when you go to joy, it's internal. And sure, you can have those moments where it kind of shakes you, but then you're able to go back in and be like, okay, well, here's my wisdom. This is what I learned from this. Or, like you go to your gratitude, and then it brings you back into that balance and well-being, to where you're like, ooh, I have my joy still. It didn't go anywhere because it's mine and no one can take it. But what else is wisdom? As we already mentioned, cracking the code. Cracking that code of, like, for me, it was my eating pattern. I cracked that pattern that I'd been living for years and years and years. And I wasn't realizing that it was a pattern. I just thought it was the way I was eating. And then I learned it was an addiction of binge eating that I had learned, but I had to take the steps to get there. And here I am on the other side of it. I'm still learning about it. I'm still practicing it, but I've learned that I feel so much better by practicing discipline, practicing self-respect, loving myself by not over consuming, and watching what I consume, and knowing that I can control that, because that's something else I worked through, is having the need to control things outside of me, because it helped me feel more secure. Okay, well, this is going to according to how I want it. But in all reality, if you do that, it causes more stress, because other people aren't going to do it the way you want to do it. Or maybe they might, but there's going to be something that's off, and it's going to trigger something. And for me, it was just that fact that I was just trying to control that, because I couldn't control myself. I wasn't controlling myself, controlling what I was consuming. I was just eating and eating and eating. So then I was like, oh, well, I'm going to control this situation. And it just was an ongoing cycle. And then learning that, I can only control myself, and I'm really enjoying the way I'm controlling myself with what I'm consuming. And that's the big wisdom that I'm taking away from this.